exactly what happened because some of you might be interested in the tech situation.
Yes, this is
Um,
this is a this is
we
something that only could
are
happen with the food.
so because we're at COVID, I don't have Vincent helping me out, and when I run these streams by myself, I run them off of my MacBook Pro, which I ran for the longest time, and it generally runs really well. Don't have any problems. I can do lots of things with my MacBook Pro. And when I run this, I run, just so you guys kind of know the gear, I run a Canon camera that's connected to a USB port. I run an external monitor. Both of those are plugged into this little port repeater thing. And uh, and so those two things sit on there. And then sometimes when we run audio, I've got a Zoom H6 audio interface that runs off of there as well. And there's just tons of stuff running off of it. And a second monitor, obviously, to monitor a lot of what I'm doing for the pages that I'm pulling up and your comments and all of that. And for some reason or another, the 85-watt chargers on these MacBook Pros, when you start running that many peripherals, along with something that uses a ton of graphics and processor resources, can sometimes basically just take a nosedive your battery. And even though it's charging, and even though you've got an external, power supply on there, it's not enough juice to keep everything running. So I
You know,
wasn't paying attention to it.
Terrence, this is why I always say, like, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah,
Especially
well,
on things that matter. Like on these live streams, like I love like how great, we put these together and everything like that. But when you're just running solo like that, right, it's KISS, man. You gotta make sure you got everything set up right.
I just got to watch that
And the
that gas
and the
gauge. I mean, it
details
basically was
and
like
the
driving to
detail
Vegas, and I got
yeah.
I got past Barstow from LA. And for those of you that know the area, I got past Barstow from LA, probably like 100 miles outside, and it's in the middle of absolute nowhere land. And I didn't get gas in Barstow. And I wasn't watching the
And,
gas gauge as I went through
and
Barstow,
these
basically.
if there's one thing you guys need to know about
Although
Terrence is
we got some
it's
smart people out there too with some funny things. I'll even put that one on the screen because he thinks he's so funny. Scott Carl. This would have never happened on an Ecotech battery backup.
good one.
That's a
And
good one, Smarty
in your
Pants.
defense, Terrence, in your defense, right? Vincent and I are the devil in the details. Both him and I are very detail oriented. We would have noticed your battery was low, and we would have before the live stream had even started.
When
So,
I
in your
started the
defense,
live stream, it was at 60%. So it wasn't even that the battery
sure
was
it was,
low.
sure.
Yeah, it
I
was. And it's
completely
it's
believe you.
slowly
I
going up
completely believe
now.
you.
And so if you want to understand what was the thing, Paul had the good idea what to do here. I'll give Paul some credit. So the thing that
I
that
get
basically
them every
threw it
now and then.
over, yeah, the thing that threw it over was the Canon camera runs on USB connection to the computer, and evidently that was enough to basically take it so the battery was no longer maintaining, and it couldn't keep up, even plugged in, and just went down. So there you go.
So
That's what
using the
happens.
old FaceTime
So we're waiting for
camera,
you guys
there it
to
is.
all roll back in, and you are, and I appreciate that you are rolling back in. We're getting the numbers up. Share it again. If you did share it last time, share it all over again. Um, and in light of that, we will give away for sure something super awesome to those people who came back and joined us for this live stream. So
Hmm.
we'll try to get back into the rhythm here with everything. I am up to 21%. I had gone down to 5 when it shut everything down. So I think everything is going to be fine now. Uh,
So to get us back on track, I think we were talking about orange and gray days.
yes.
And we had just spoken about the AFS crossover diet solution. And I believe you were just talking about the next great doorbuster that you had announced a couple days ago.
Paul, what would I do without you to keep my place? Yes. So the FMM
That's what I'm here for,
accessories,
buddy. That's what I'm here for.
15% off all the FMM accessories. That's basically anything that plugs into an FMM, which means anything that plugs into the connections on an FMM, as well as anything that plugs into a DC-24 port, which includes solenoid valves and PMUPs as well. So again, thank you guys all for joining us back. We're getting there. We're getting the stream back up in numbers and going to have a good time. It is orange and gray days. I did mention that they are going to have some stock outs at many of the resellers, both your local fish stores and online by the time we get to Cyber Monday. You guys have been buying up
Um,
tons of stuff over the last week.
the most popular items, you're on low inventory on almost all of them. That includes things like the Trident, the Dose, the Core. Those are all running very low on inventory, and I would expect some of your major retailers here in the United States to be out of stock on those things.
Absolutely. So again, what we're going to do here today is we're going to take more of your questions because we're not announcing another doorbuster. There's plenty of there's plenty of
No,
discounts out there.
What-
Uh,
no
but
Audible.
we do have 5 of them, and so there are 2 more, right? So the next one is the Energy Bar 832 is $50 off. So that's $229.95. And those are getting, I think, a little slim out there. So if you wanted to get another energy bar, I know they've been going like crazy. And once the sale's over, the
I've
sale's
been
over.
I've been watching, all our big three retailers in terms of what their inventory is looking like. They share that kind of stuff with me, and I have tricks. And the Energy Bar 832 by far is the most dangerous in terms of stock out. And once those are out of stock, they're not allowed to sell anymore. So they won't be able to honor any more of those $230 prices. So if that's something you've been thinking about adding to your Apex system, because you want to expand some things, get some more one link DC24 ports, definitely consider that soon.
And Mark S says, I like Paul's suggestion to throw an audible for a doorbuster. I wish we could, but the amount of coordination that it takes to pull all of this off so that everybody
Oh,
has
dude,
stock
it'll be
and everybody.
fine. It'll be
Yeah,
fine. It'll be
I'm
fine.
sure Terrence is just going to go, hey, you know what? I got an idea. Well, that'll make a lot of people super happy for sure.
Yeah.
This person says he scored a core 20 for 179. I don't know where that happened, but that's a serious mistake. If you did, they lost money. I can assure you they lost money for sure. But yeah, so we had the Energy Bar 832, and then the last one that we announced on Monday was the leak detection kit, also
Yep.
called the spousal protection kit, or the I can keep an aquarium even after I might have had a disaster that I averted kit. And it comes with the FMM module and 2 of the leak detection probes together. It's $125 during the special. And when combined with that FMM special that we have, means you can buy other things to plug into 2 of those ports, like a flow sensor
Right.
or.
So, yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. So that's probably the best combo if you have been looking for flow monitoring accessories. You're going to get the FMM module, 2 leak detection probes right out of the box, and then you have 2 additional ports. You can save one of them. So one of the leak detection probes, if you want, and cycle those as you dry them out. Overflow frequently.
Yep.
And with the flow sensors and the optical sensors, it's a great option.
So we did have a question here that I have to find it. Going by so fast. Brandon Cesar said, "Is there a 4 outlet that can show watts?" Paul,
Yeah. No, there is
is
not.
there a?
We do have an Energy Bar 4. It's called our heavy duty Energy Bar. It has 3 8-amp relays on it and one 12-amp relay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for those chillers, those big heaters that you need to run, under a half horsepower, of course, on the chiller. And what it will show you is full amps, right? So it's the amp consumption on the entire Energy Bar. Those amps you can't set alerts or notifications to. It is just more of that information
It's kind of like
that you
what
can
most of the other
watch.
companies do with their energy
Yeah.
consumption information, which is just show you a number, right?
Well, one thing you can do with it though, Terrence, if for some reason you trip like a GFCI on it, you can get notification that there is no 120-volt power on it, right? So there is
Excellent.
the if power command that you can use there. So if the circuit breaker were to trip, you could get notification about that. But it's not going to give you that insight about individual device monitoring like the Energy Bar 832 will.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if there's another question here. Here's a good one. So Derek Thomas asked, what bundle would you recommend for a starter Terrence? I think what
Hmm.
it really depends on, in my opinion, is your budget and your kind of emotional state for wanting to be future proof or not have buyer's remorse, right? And so you can buy the Apex or you can buy the Apex EL. The EL during orange and gray days, it's only $450. And absolutely, I think anybody who doesn't have that on an aquarium is potentially missing out in terms of taking care of their animals, because it's monitoring your temperature, it's monitoring your pH, it's monitoring all of your equipment for $450. However, if you also wanted to have salinity monitoring, ORP monitoring, and the ability to do variable speed devices or variable output devices, for instance, lighting or pumps that support it 0 to 10, then you'd want to go to the Apex, which is $720 during the special right now. From there, really, it's going to depend on what you do, right? I mean, if you got a brand new
And
tank, you
Terrence,
probably don't need a Trident. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people at times say, well, uh, you know, the really, what do I get with that Apex? Choosing between the Apex EL and the Apex, and I do want to spend a little bit more time on that because I feel that there are certain things that are included in the full Apex that people just do not see the value in. And I know we've talked about it a couple times, even in the last couple days. But ORP, and I have a great example right now. We can look at my ORP graph. I just did a big water change the other day,
Yeah,
and we can
let me
see
put you up
the
there.
effect on that. All right, are we sharing the screen?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot the
Yeah.
wrong one.
Yep.
This is the Paul demo one. I got the wrong screen.
Yep.
There we go.
So can we see that? All right, good. So we can see that pretty well right now. And let's take a look at what my ORP was
There was a
before
couple of people that
Wednesday.
asked about ORP too, Paul. So this is good. I'm glad you're going over
Right.
this.
And this is and I didn't do this intentionally. I've been super busy, guys, right? So I'm working on a lot of projects for you guys right now. I also do a lot of the parts here at the company, making sure that our vendors have great success, right? Which means your great success as well. So leading up to this Black Friday has been a slog, right? As a result of that, my tank hasn't been getting the same attention that it normally gets, right? And my ORP over the last couple of weeks has been lower than it usually is, right? So if we look there, we can see that my average ORP was 320. Okay. And I can even, put on here some different
Yep,
things, right, to show that. And so, I had my alarm set up there, so you can kind of see all that. But then I finally on Wednesday, I'm almost to the end here. I'm going to be gone out of the office for a couple days. Let's go ahead and see what happened to my ORP after that water change, right? And so I did that water change. I did a pretty big one, about 35% probably, right? And look what happened to my ORP, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
it's all the way up into the 370s, right? And here, right, when my ORP was down here,
Such a good example,
I
Paul.
you can look at the tank sometimes and just know I need to do a water change. And without even looking at the tank, my ORP was lower than it should have been. And I came in today and I just stood in front of the tank for a little bit and I said, I'm really glad I did that water change. And the ORP was showing that as well, right? And this
Yeah, I
is where
mean,
I typically
a
like
lot
to
of the
keep it.
scientist kind of guys, Paul, get kind of upset when marketing guys like me say that, well, it's kind of like an indicator of how clean your
Hmm.
tank is. And I get that that's not technically correct, okay? But in the
Hmm.
operational status of what you do in your tank, meaning changing filter socks or having a lot of goop in your carbon reactor or having water changes like you just did, it's the net effect, right? So whether or not it's
Hmm.
technically a correct thing to say, it is the net effect. Paul was running his tank; it's running fine. He's got an average. It's not. It's the EKG more or less of his tank, right? But he kind of just like
More or
cleaned
less,
out the
right?
arteries. Yeah, he just like cleaned out the arteries of his tank with a water change, and now his flow, so to speak, of blood in his heart of his tank, his ORP, is now running at a higher level. Does that mean that it's better? Well, in the sense of you need a water change sometimes to replenish things, yes. In the terms of would his tank have died if he hadn't have done it? No, that's not the case. But it does show that you can track kind of as your tank
Well,
progresses and it has less of an ability to counteract or oxidize pollutants in the tank, your ORP will slowly drift down.
yeah, and you touched it just right there at the end, Terrence. It's the potential to be able to oxidize contaminants. That's what
Hmm.
ORP stands for. Contaminants are your nitrates, they're your ammonia and things like that. So when you have a high concentration of contaminants, right? So if your nitrates are high, if you have a little bit of ammonia in there and those sort of things, the potential to break down more really isn't there, right? When you
Right.
remove those, then the potential to break those contaminants down goes much higher, and as a result, water quality does improve. You know,
Yeah, you're not going to tell. I mean, it's not one of these things where you go, "Oh, I've got the wrong ORP right now." It's not. It's not like that. It's another tool in your arsenal of things to kind of get a better, understanding of what's going on in your aquarium. You look at your temperature, you look at your pH, you look at your ORP, you look at your salinity, you look at your alkalinity, you look at all of these things, and all of them together, you start to get a real sense of what normal is for your aquarium when it's looking really good. And then when things are out of those norms, I really need to check on this or that. I
and
can tell you right
ORP is
now,
one of
even in
those things too. I like ORP too because if something's going really wrong in the tank, ORP is one of the first
right,
things that'll show that, right? In addition to pH, right? If you're doing calc or something like that, if you see a big pH swing, that's usually indicative of something too. But when ORP starts to just go out of this park or go very low, it typically indicates that something isn't right and something
yeah,
that's going to become catastrophic.
and specifically to Derek's question, how do I decide what kit or package or whatever should I get to begin with? It is a matter of if a budget is for sure an issue and you're kind of uncertain, you can always add other things later on that'll give you this functionality. The only difference is that you're going to pay more in aggregate by adding it on later than you will by having it now. And instead of having it integrated into one device, you'll have to have other modules connected to it to get that same functionality, which may not have the same clean look. So it's just a choice
And,
kind of to make. That's all.
and then to follow up on that, to add ORP to an Apex L, like you're like, wow, that ORP thing sounds really cool. I do want that. But maybe I'm not so interested in the variable voltage outputs to control 0 to 10 volt devices, right? Well, it's going to cost $100 at normal retail to add that. Actually,
It's
no, it's going to cost
$85.
about
It's
135,
$85.
100
Yeah, it's
plus the
85
ORP
plus
probe though.
about $80. It's about $165 to
Yeah,
add ORP monitoring. So now that $450 Apex on sale, now later on you're now less than $100 away from buying the full Apex just by adding ORP
right.
later on if you decided to do that. And if the other
And
thing
the
too is if you want to run a calcium reactor too, if you weren't so much interested in running ORP for whatever reason, you wanted to run a calcium reactor, that's another thing that you could do if you got the full Apex without having to have an additional module because you could convert that ORP connection to a pH connection. Oh, Battle OCR
and
just gave us a super chat for $5. Thank you, Battle.
oh, thanks,
Appreciate
dude.
that. Let's see if I can get my my mouse working correctly here and get him. Thank you, Battle. Let's see if that works.
Oh, well, I
We'll
just
just
saw
have
that I can see the comments from YouTube. I've been looking at my phone for Facebook comments. Cool.
no, they flow on the
I just
side, man.
saw that. Look at
They
that.
flow on
Look
the
at that.
side.
Take us off of
Let's see.
the
Yeah, I
share
could
screen.
try, but my mouse isn't working. Isn't that great? Isn't that special?
Don't you love mouses? I mean, you're not a big fan of those trackpads.
Yeah, right. Let's see. There we go.
There he
I don't
goes.
know why. There we go. Okay, so my charge is up to 29%. I've now I'm kind of feeling good now. I'm using the built-in camera now. That's why the charge can go up instead of using my Canon camera over there. So that's definitely good. Let's see if there's a another question here. So the Dante's
And
on
then,
question
but Terrence,
says he made the
I don't want to leave. Nope.
he
In
said
terms
oh,
of
go,
the other things that you would add on Derek, dose, trident, other things you might need. I think you were asking for like a starter package, power heads. Those are all things that you can add in, and you can either choose to do those now or choose to do them later. Because at the end of the day, you're going to love your Apex experience.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily advocate. I mean, I should be trying to sell everything I should. It's in my job title to try to market and sell people things, right? But
Hmm.
I want people to not be overwhelmed as well because there are a lot of choices. So, like a train set, buy the base train set to begin with, get it started, get it going, and then move on. Now, clearly there is a special right now. So that does kind of pressure you to want to think about other things that you might want. But if your tank is relatively new, a Trident is probably even too early right now, unless you just want to save the extra $60. Probably want to be looking at things like leak detection is probably a really good choice at this point, especially because it's on sale. And if you have a lot of things that you're going to have plugged into the aquarium, depending on the size of the aquarium, another energy bar is always a good idea too. because then you're pretty much handled. Most aquariums, right, will use 1 to 2 energy bars depending on all the things that they're running. So that's pretty much that.
And take it, and even if you do decide to get a couple different things, take one thing at a time would be my recommendation. Make sure you get that set up, then add the next thing. You'll be a lot more successful at the end of the day because of that, because you're not taking on too much at once.
Yeah, and I wanted to give a shout out to Harry Singer a little bit. I know I saw today he's running a special on all of his add-on stuff. So
Oh,
all of the
nice.
add-on accessories, he's got a really good special out there at Harry's Aquatics. He does a ton of Apex gear, so I see him on the stream here. So shout out to you, Harry. Thanks for being a great supporter of the Apex brand for so long. We really appreciate it. What else
Definitely,
do we have here?
definitely.
Other questions? Just trying to
Sorry, I cut you
figure.
off on the last one. I was just like, oh, there's
No, that's
more
okay.
there, It's,
But wait, there's
when we're on
more.
these virtual ones, they don't, we can't read each other as well.
Russell Childs asked, let's see if I can get his up on the screen. Add broadcast. Oh, it's in the bottom and maybe it's dark? What? No, I guess not. Anyway, Russell Childs asked, had my system for 2+ years now. When do I need to worry about replacing probes? That's what Russell said.
Oh, great question.
So what do you
Great
think, Paul?
question. Generally, right. So let's look at what you don't have to replace, right? You don't need to replace the temperature probe, right? And you don't need to replace the salinity probe. The salinity probe just needs to typically be cleaned. The citric acid baths that you use for pumps are just fine for those. Vinegar baths are fine for those. If you drop the salinity probe, guess what? You're going to need to replace it. The pH and the ORP probe are a little bit different, though. That's because the way that they work is, without getting into too much into the weeds, there is a reference electrolyte that's inside of them, right? And that's essentially how it calculates the pH, how it calculates the ORP. And
Mm-hmm.
over time, salt water eventually permeates itself into that reference electrolyte. Okay, and that reference electrolyte isn't homogeneous anymore, right? It's not pure, and as a result of that, that's why probes need to be replaced. It's because salt water gets into everything, and it gets inside of the probes. Okay, and once those are once in about 2.5 years, that's about the point that you want to start thinking about replacing them.
Yeah, for sure. And really the salinity probe thing, and there's tons of people asking salinity probe questions. We know we get tons of them all the time. But the salinity probe itself lasts a long, long time if you take care of it, because it is super, super fragile. It has a tiny little glass tube in there with a platinum band on it. And if you tap that against something or you drop it even from waist height onto a solid floor, it's done. Guaranteed it's done. It's history. It's over
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean,
Let's
I've
see.
been, I've even been in the situation where I'm shaking it dry to calibrate it, right? And then I'll knock it against the side of the sump. That's it,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know. Um,
done.
so it's just one of those things that it's a probe that you need to handle with care.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a question from Kurt Hoffmeister. Says, I just purchased the Core 20 and the cable to the controller will not reach my control board. I checked. There doesn't appear to be an extension cable. Are there plans to create one 10 feet? Paul.
Is that for the power? Is he referring to the power cable?
He's saying the Core 20, so I think it's probably
So,
talking
so,
about
so the Core
the
20
Aquabus cable.
pump cable, the Core 20 pump cable, no, we don't have a cable that, that we could, that we sell. I encourage you to reach out to the support team. Maybe we can figure something out.
Hmm.
The power cable that power supply doesn't need to be plugged into the Apex, right? It's nice because you can get the power monitoring features of that on the EB832. So if the power cord is the issue, you can move that to a wall outlet. And then finally, the Aquabus cable, no issue, right? So we sell, I think, a
Right.
3 foot or a 6 foot. A 6 foot's included with the Core 20. You can get a 15 foot, you can get a 30 foot, you can get extension cables. There should be no problem there.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see here. We do. We do have a lot of stuff rolling through here, Paul. We got a lot of people in the stream, and
I know.
guys, help
I'm
us
trying
out.
to follow.
Share this thing. We're going to be answering a lot of stuff. We're going to have a surprise guest a little bit later. We're going to give away some free gear. We'll give away another hat. I know those are super popular.
Ooh, giving away
We'll
another hat. You're
I
keeping count of
do.
these. I know these hats are going are like wildfire right now.
I'm still here, Paul. Don't worry.
Mm,
I'm just
You're getting
walking
you're
around the corner
getting you're
here.
getting a trackpad or something, aren't you?
Not a trackpad. No, something way better than that.
Okay.
So I think this is what we're giving away today. That's what I think.
What?
I know. I know. It's
Really?
hard to believe, but given the given the technical difficulty, given we are 200 and mid 200s right now in terms of people that are in the
Mm-hmm.
stream, love to see you guys get it to 300. So share it out there, and maybe I'll give something else away too. But let's give away a Trident. Again, we haven't had to go to trade shows all year, so the boss's marketing budget hasn't
Haven't
been eaten up very much, and we
man.
haven't given away much gear. So let's make it fun. Look at this. I look like Kilroy here with the Trident. It's like.
I want to
So
correct you. You said we haven't had to go. We haven't gotten to go. Like
yeah, thank
I
you. That's absolutely
seriously
true.
miss trade shows. Like I miss seeing our customers. I miss talking to you guys. Setting up those. I miss the team building that we always have because we always work so hard to put together, our best foot forward. So I guess gotta correct you. I miss them.
Absolutely. So do us a favor, do some shares out there, because who knows, whenever I see people doing shares, I sometimes contact them through private message and they get some bonuses too. So it's one of those things where you treat us well on sharing out the live streams. Generally, there's good benefits there all the way around. And I know Paul in support also gets to know some of the people who are the more frequent people on our streams and who are going out and sharing things and whatnot. And while everybody is equal out there, inevitably some are always a little more equal than others. It's just the way the world works. So yeah, it's go out, share the stuff around, and make Paul happy. And who knows what'll come down the road. If you need some assistance and he sees that name roll through, he'll probably have a recall. Uh,
It's a lot of fun when you connect with people. When they're not having the best day, and you give them a call. And then they will reference if they watch Let's Talk Reef, and you can talk about that a little bit. It really lets them know that hey, we're a real company with real people that are really passionate about our aquariums.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and keep those questions coming. Okay. Thank you for all the kind words about the aquarium behind me. Paul's got one running behind him too. So
Hmm.
you can see Paul's tank back behind him. That's what he has in the
With a
office there.
with a pizza
So
box. There's a pizza box there.
he is running a pizza box over it. So his tank has been doing really awesome. He's got some cool sticks and other LE corals in there.
Yeah, we
Paul's really
can.
big into fish you can't see. So
Yeah, we got a little hippo tang in there that's been with Neptune Systems for almost 5 years now. And for some reason, he has just always stayed the run of the pack. And so he's been with me now since 2017. He's been in this tank, and he is literally that big, and
yep.
he won't get any bigger. No signs of lateral line. He stays fat and healthy. I love that little guy. So.
The corals are doing good. They're looking really good in there, Paul. Colors are looking really good.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah, we
about it. It
can,
shows
if you
up really
want,
good
we
on camera
can.
too.
Yeah, no, so this is my normal settings right now. I have this is kind of I like a little bit of a white tank. I don't like a super blue tank, like some people out there. And I mix in a lot of the colors, but I like to keep a nice crisp looking tank. We can also do some top down shots if you want, Terrence. I don't know if you want me to try to move in the camera or
Yeah,
anything.
try
Um,
it. Give it a shot.
okay,
If you got the
okay.
camera,
All
if you
right,
got
let's
the
see how
cam
this
away, let's
goes.
let's give him a taste.
All right.
Even my
Let me
buddy
try.
Nick Tenney's on the show here.
All right, let me put it in feed mode real quick so we can do the top down.
He's going to get the top of the water super still, so you can kind of see.
Yeah,
Just
we
be
gotta
very
come
careful
on,
with that
come on.
camera, okay, Paul?
I know.
The big man down the hall might not
He might not.
appreciate the upshots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh no, look at that. I don't think so.
Is that good? Is it
I think
not
we got
working?
enough there, Paul. That's enough.
Okay.
That's plenty. We don't want to do any more than that. That gave it just enough.
Okay.
Oh, that's good
Probably
though.
should. We probably
That
should have tried that out a little first.
yeah, that's a tease and a half right there. That's uh
Okay.
that's awesome. But anyway, guys, so that's a good looking tank that Paul's got going there. Let me go back to split screen here, Paul. Get Paul back into the world here. Definitely looking at a nice tank there. One behind me as well, and people are lighting it up. So I know later today there's going to be I think a BRS live stream later today. We're going to talk everything lighting. So if you guys want, that's where you can ask all the questions. But I'm going to reveal it here, Paul. Okay. So
Mm,
all of you
mm.
listening, okay, so that you can know at 2 o'clock, the same time we did today, hopefully without the technical difficulties. Um, 2 o'clock on Monday, we're going to do another live stream, Cyber Monday, finish of Orange and Gray Days live stream, and Ryan from BRS will be with us. So if you want to ask him any questions, if you want to ask him about lighting or what he likes in lighting or what he thinks the challenges are in lighting or any of those things, come to that live stream and fire away. Maybe even, I mean, he, like I said, he is doing a live stream in a couple of hours. Go to that one, fire away. Maybe ask Ryan about the sky. I don't know. Um, see what Ryan knows. Just go to that live stream and just go, hey, what about the sky? Hey, what about the sky? Hey, what about the sky?
This is Terrence's guerrilla marketing right here. Get
Is
you
that what it
guys
is?
out there.
Well, he is going to
Something
do it
like
on
that.
lighting. He says it's going to be like a 2 hour live stream today. So, we want to get the
Yeah.
control freak army out there and start asking some questions. But any Apex questions out there, guys, fire them away at us. We're going to have our surprise guest here, I think, any minute. I'm waiting for him to ring up. He is on the way to the airport. And as soon as he gets a moment, he's going to pop in. And he's going to, he's someone who can tell you just about anything you want to know about aquariums. That's for sure. I'll give you that kind of a hint. So, people, it's so funny.
You're really trying to build the suspense here for him, huh?
I know. I'm just reading all the comments. It's hard for me not to sit here and read all the comments. That's so
I
funny.
know. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that other part when we were going to go top down.
It's
Didn't
okay,
think
Paul,
about it.
man. It's okay. It's okay. It's all
Yeah.
good. People will be wondering what's going on for sure. They're right now trying to figure it out. They're trying to repost it right now, Paul. You know that. This is the world we live in. But
Let's move
the
on.
Sky
Let's
is
move on.
is
Okay.
going into NSI, so I am going to put a pitch out there for NSI. NSI is our Neptune Systems Insiders program. We have hundreds of people who apply to this program. Usually, about twice a year, we open up the process to get more people. And it's right now. There's no way for you to get in to get the Sky. That's for sure. But who knows on the next product? So keep your eyes open. Make sure you join our Facebook group. You like it, and then when the notice comes out, you'll be able to go to a forum and fill it out, and possibly be part of the group. So there you go. Let's see here. What is the most advanced flow meter usage you've seen, Paul?
The flow meters in particular, I really like them for informational. I've seen some people try to increase flow and things like that based on flow monitoring. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really like that because so many weird things can happen, like a piece of particulate can get inside of a flow meter from time to
They
time,
call it a feedback
stop
loop,
it up.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that
and you
happens.
basically just create this feedback loop, which isn't so. The flow monitoring for me is a much more informational, kind of a recommendation. It's you set a flow meter on the output of your UV, right? So you can dial that
Mm-hmm.
in, right? I wouldn't necessarily change that flow automatically, right? If I notice that flow is going down, that actually just tells me that, hey, there's something probably impending the flow into my UV. I need to do some tank maintenance. One thing that I love to do with the flow meter, though, is I love putting the flow meter in the emergency tank line. I know you talked about that the other day, Terrence,
Hmm.
but when you suddenly have something that reads 0 and then it has flow going through it, that can be very informative in terms of letting you know what's going on in the tank right there, that the emergency line is getting used.
So I'm going to tell you where I think you can have it, and you don't really need to care too much about the feedback loop situation. Is if you're running a little bit larger tank, and I've done this on one of my presentations where I've talked about running two core pumps, right? You run one for the
Mm-hmm.
main tank, and you run one on a manifold to run some of your other devices, right? Whether it be to feed your, like your algae reactor, or to feed your GFO, or to feed any of those things. I don't particularly have a problem with increasing the flow rate as those things get backed up a little bit in order to keep the flow where it needs to be, because it naturally is going to change. And having a flow meter on there allows you to then increase that flow as you get back pressure in those
Right.
particular things. So that is certainly something I think you can do. Okay, let's see here. Do the Core 15 and Core 20 provide the same information to Fusion as long as the Core 20 is plugged into an 832 power monitoring, etc.? That's kind of a convoluted question in a way, because there's like two or three things to unpack there. But go ahead for it, Paul.
So, if you have an extra power outlet, you could plug the power supply of the Core 20 into an EV832 outlet. It's not necessarily needed though, because the Core 15 and the Core 20 have all sorts of different power notifications and alerts just built into the module themselves, right? So you have a volts error, you can have a high voltage error, you can have a cavitation error, you can have a stall error, right? And these are all
Mm-hmm.
things that give even more information than the information that comes from just power monitoring.
But if you plugged in the Core 20 into your Apex, you can get yet another level, though, right? I mean, it could give you some additional information, or no?
It can give you some additional information, absolutely. That
But I mean,
once you know the
if I
exact wattage that a go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, if I had my Core 20 plugged into an outlet, right, and the for whatever reason, the all of a sudden the control module for it, right, the driver module, were to completely
Mhm.
die, right, you wouldn't get a notification for that, right?
Not at this time, no. You
That's what I
that because
thought. So then,
the module as itself would be going away, and at this time there's no alert or notification for modules, not being connected. That may
right,
change in the future. We'll see.
right.
So that would be another level of insight in terms of what's going on with the power supply, what's going on with the device. The Core 15, that's not something you can do, because the one link port's exact wattage is not monitored, or it's not reported wattage.
Right. Right. There's an overall current monitoring that happens to tell whether or not
Yeah,
it's using the certain amount of power for the RPMs that it's delivering,
exactly.
right? For
Yes,
sure.
but in terms of that giving you a wattage number, that's not something that is
Oh,
reported
wait,
from the one link.
I got a little noise here, which means I'm supposed to be having a guy come in, I think. I think he's coming in. Hang on. I think I heard something. I hope he's coming to the right place. Where are you, Mark? Oops, sorry. I just gave it away.
I'll send him a text message too. Hold on.
I'm trying. I think it's the same link no matter what. So I just sent him another link.
I'm pretty sure
Hopefully it
it
didn't
is.
go on. I heard the
Okay, cool.
noise
You
on
got
the
it.
other computer. I heard the noise on the other
hmm
computer, which I'm trying to shut off now. And since I can't shut it off, I'll just unplug it. Hopefully it doesn't show up over there. Let's see if I can get him in here, because I'm supposed to get 4 people. Let's see. I could get him to try again. Zippy's like, so getting Mark. It's so funny.
All
People
the
are so
marks are
funny.
like, "Hey, I'm here."
Uh, bear with me, guys. It's all technology. Oh, he's on his phone.
I saw somebody asking a little bit about my tank. It's a 34-gallon Red Sea 170. Um, and has a wave pump for flow, core 15 for return, dose, trident, all that kind of fun stuff.
Okay, keep it going, Paul, so I get this going, okay?
Terrence
Oh, you're
runs
running the show.
Dan Marino. Terrence runs 6 wave pumps in his tank, if I'm not mistaken. And he has, I think, 2 at any one time being cleaned. That's just how Terrence rolls. There are a few things that Terrence doesn't have on his tank. I don't think he has the LSM module. I don't think he does dissolved oxygen monitoring.
I did
And
for
I
a
think that's about
time,
it.
and it didn't really show anything because in a reef tank, it's not.
Yeah.
There's so much oxygenation happening in a reef tank that it's really never going to move for the most part without me noticing something else. If it were to go wrong with my skimmer and all my pumps were off and everything for a while, then it would. I'm having him reset it, so just keep the show running,
Cool.
Paul. This is your chance
just
to run a
looking
show,
for,
man.
I'm just looking. I can't bring the comments over like you can.
No, you cannot, but you can read them all.
Someone asked what light is that behind me? It's the pizza box, also known as the skylight. It is a future Neptune Systems product.
How many energy bars do I have? I think I have like 4. I think 1, 2, 3, maybe 3.
Too many. And he doesn't have good wire management. He does not have good wire management.
It depends on where it is. Downstairs, the wire management's pretty good.
Oh, look at him get all defensive all of a sudden. But when he's having an issue and you're trying to help him, Terrence, where does this go? He doesn't know.
So our guest is trying to log in right now and trying the technology, which does work. So, and he is a Mac person, so it should even work better. So, and he sent me a screenshot. So, but we're okay. It's fine. It's not a problem. Oh, so it looks like Battle OCR's got 6 of them. So he's definitely got me beat by
6
far.
what? He's got 6.
Okay. 6 energy bars. We're almost hitting up to 300. By the way, guys, we are going to give away a trident, so stick around. I would not bail out of this live stream if I were you, because you do have a chance at getting the trident for sure. I dumped your feed, Paul, so I could open up a slot just in case that was causing an issue.
Okay, cool.
Don't know if it was or not.
If you need me to leave, I understand. Mark's the big ticket item.
Well, I don't know if it's because it's got you. So let me assign you. I'm actually going to assign you to a different guest because let me see what happens here. Just cut something with Paul here. Okay, now you're back. Got you in as guest 3, and we go back to him. COVID sucks, man. Because if it wasn't the COVID thing, I'd have Vincent here. He'd be driving this. It's just
I know.
No bueno. I could open up Skype, but then that might be a whole nother.
You haven't refreshed the what you call it for a while, so it will not be happy.
I'll just ask him if it's got Skype. Let's see if we can't
best
get him
probe
in.
locations. I personally like keeping my probes near my return pump. I don't like putting them near the input of the return pump. I like putting them on the backside of the return pump. You get pretty good level of flow through there, but you don't get a lot of micro bubbles. You definitely need to have a bubble trap before going into your return pump chamber. Or otherwise you're going to get a lot of micro bubbles and things like that on your salinity probe. But that's where I like to do place my probes. I did see a tank on that.
Dead air, Paul. Come on, man. Dead air.
I know. I mean, there's just so many questions here.
You gotta keep this live stream going, man.
You didn't. ADB832s by Donald Martin. Thank you for your support. We appreciate that. I love the LSM2, Steve. It's a great module. It's one of the few lunar modules that actually give an authentic lunar simulation in terms of the new moon, the first moon, and it's used in a lot of, and the season tables for that matter are used by a lot of different people like Richard Ross in their spawning experiments and things like that. Terrence, do you use an algae scraper?
I
Oh
use
no,
the Flipper
I'm thinking
algae
of an out.
scaper.
Yeah, use the flipper. That's right. You got your
They haven't
beefed up
sent me the new
seams.
floating one though yet. That's an interesting. That's
Yeah,
actually an interesting thing. They now have a floating one because I believe the patent from MagFloat had expired,
or
and
they found a
so
convenient workaround.
no, I think it expired actually.
Was it
To be honest
expired?
with you, yes. I think there probably could have taken on some of them, but they
Right.
some workarounds, but they chose to wait for it to expire, I believe. But yeah, I use the MagFloat. I mostly use it on the scraper side. Okay, let's see
Cool.
here. I think he's
Oh
trying
my
to get on
gosh.
Skype for sure. I know.
You're
I think
bringing
you
them
know
in
what
by
happened,
Skype?
Paul. I think it's because
Hmm.
I fired up my software on the Mac Mini, and
Yeah.
when I heard him beep in, I heard it on the Mac Mini. And so I think even though I
Uh,
created the link here on my computer, I think when I
mm-hmm.
fired up the Mac Mini, that one took precedence for some reason. Maybe it's some bug in the interview software or something.
Did you turn the Mac Mini off?
Yes, I did. I unplugged it. I made sure it was
Okay.
off by the old unplug. Look at this. I love this. Susan Alvarez says, "Where is Oprah when you need her? You got to try it. You get to
You
try it.
gotta try it.
Everyone,
You
everyone
gotta
needs to
try
look
it.
under your seat.
Look,
Everyone's got to try
look
it."
under your seat. You gotta try it.
Yeah, I think we did. Did we do an under seat thing one time at one of the conferences for a winner? I
We
think we stuck.
did.
I think we stuck something
I
under a
think
seat.
we
Like
did.
I'm pretty sure. He's
I
going to
had a
try to get in. He is going to be boarding the airplane here shortly, so we'd only get a couple of questions in anyway. But maybe he's one of these people that likes to board early. I don't know.
oh yeah.
I'm not an early boarder. A little less COVID for me.
You're
Uh,
you're you're a little you're the guy that comes as late as possible, and we're all waiting on.
so yes, I still wear orange and gray even on non-work days. I have a lot of orange and gray wear. I saw that question roll up there. It's definitely the case. Uh, we did have a thing. They asked about the sensors and putting where to put them. Did you see the thing from Ryan where he had a problem with his temp sensor getting out of the sump water in the return chamber? He was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't want to put it in the return chamber. The temp probe now because of that.
Hmm.
So
Well, I mean,
I
if
don't
you
know.
mount it, I mean, unless you have just a huge volume of water in your return chamber, for most standard sumps, it's going to work. For your sump, obviously that would not work at all. Your return pump is just in with everything else because you have a big agricultural bin for it, right?
Yeah,
But
big.
it really
Yeah,
just
it's a
depends
big.
on the setup.
It's a watering trough
But I can
basically.
tell you
It's
where
a
not to put them. You do not want to put them in your filter sock area or anything like that. You don't want to put them in your refugium area.
hmm
That kind of stuff is a big no-no because you're gonna get all sorts of microbubbles, and in the refugium area, so many critters and everything else are just gonna get into them. And I always find too that if there's going to be lack of water flow in one area, it always seems to be the refugium, right? And so as a result of that, you're not, heating to true temperatures. You're not, seeing the actual reality of flow through the tank.
Well, I told him anyway, you should be running two temperature probes anyway. That way, when you have a problem like he had where he's freaking out because of the temperature, you go look at your other one, which is in like in your overflow, and you're like, yeah, temperature's just fine.
Yeah,
So that's
I
that's kind of what
definitely
I
run
told
two
him.
temperature probes. I have my second temperature probe hooked up to my PMK.
Yeah. So somebody asked about this. This is an interesting one. So this MOA thing for cleaning the glass. Have you heard of that thing?
Yeah, is it finally happening?
No, it's like 3 years. The person's like, I've been a backer
I
of
know,
Central
but
Vent
is it
Packers for like
finally
three
happening? I mean,
years.
no, I heard some recent buzz about it,
Yeah,
so
I don't know. I don't know if I trust that news source, but I don't
yeah.
know what's happening with it. But that's one for me that I'm like, well, that's certainly a good idea in concept. but in actuality, when is it going to be smarter than an 8-year-old? Okay. If it's not going to be smarter than an 8-year-old, I know many 8-year-olds that'll scratch the heck out of your tank, right? So I'm just
No,
thinking,
I've seen full grown adults do it, Terrence. I mean,
yeah, for
the eight
sure.
year old level may not be a high enough threshold, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
you were
So Paul,
given
what
one
is the
job, one.
so
Yeah.
let's see, here's a good question for you. What would be the base unit for the regular Apex is sold separately, right? So that's what 360 about
Yes.
on Orange and Gray days right now. So
It's the yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
so so in reality, if you wanted to run a Trident and you got caught up in the, well, it's not standalone thing, right? You basically
Hmm.
for 800 and what is that? $800, I guess. You could run it right now.
Yeah, it'd be
Is that
360,
right?
360 plus 540, right? So that would be
Oh,
eight
okay, nine
hundred,
hundred dollars, $900, $900,
900.
900.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for $900 right now, if you wanted to run it, you could do that, and then I guess you could monitor other stuff. So that's still pretty good deal.
Or for $150 more, you get power monitoring, pH monitoring, and temperature
True.
monitoring. And I
With the
mean,
pros,
900
yes.
is still, I think 900 is 900 still
I'm just
less
saying,
than
if
the
you were
other
that
standalone
concerned
solutions.
about getting a standalone and like every dollar counted, right? Not that it was the smartest way to spend every dollar, but you
Hmm.
still could get it for $900. So, but it comes with the 12-volt supply too, right? The one you buy it separately.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
does. Why?
Oh, I
Why you
haven't
like?
heard. I
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah.
Sorry, I just saw. I there was a we had an employee that always used to call me Seth Rogen, so I find that comment to be very funny.
Oh,
Chris.
somebody called you Seth Rogen. Yeah,
Yeah.
you like that one better than the karaoke in the car guy. What's his name? Somebody always had you for that.
Oh yeah, no, what's his name again?
I can't
There's
remember.
some
The
pictures that I see that I'm like, oh,
the.
that's kind of creepy.
All right.
But
Well, I don't know that we have too
I
many
did
other
saw him
questions
with
here,
Paul.
and all we're doing
Are
is
we
helping
not
more
getting our
people.
special guest?
We're not getting him. It looks like it's going to fizzle out. He's got to get on his airplane. Technology is failed us mainly because I hooked up that other Mac Mini. And now that it's unplugged, it's just going. It's probably he's out in some weird hole somewhere. So I just have to apologize
Hmm.
profusely to all of my technical difficulties. But I will say this is the sixth live stream of this entire Orange and Gray days, and up until now, even ones I had
And
to
you're
run
not
that
done
weren't
yet.
Vincent wasn't
You're
here.
not done yet.
Okay, but still, okay, yeah, James Corden's the guy. Even after six of them, this is the first day I've had any kind of real difficulties. So, and I had to run two
Hmm.
or three of them on my own without it. So we're gonna basically that's the audible we're gonna call, which is we will get him back. It was Mark Callahan. Now I'll probably owe him a special live stream at some point. Maybe we'll do it the day after
Same.
the day after all of the stuff is over and talk about all the stuff you bought during Orange and Gray days. But we will have him back on because I'm sure he has some things to talk about. And we need to now give away the Trident. It is now time to give away the hat and give away the Trident. Oh, look at that. Did you see how that happened? Look at that. That's like a feature I
That
didn't
was
even know could
cool.
happen. Wow, look at
Look
that.
at that.
Two fingers scroll.
Interesting.
So all of you guys that are in here that have lasted through this whole stream, thank you so much. It wasn't the best stream we've ever had. I will be the first to admit that. We've done better, and we promise we'll do better the next time in all transparency. But thank you for joining us. And I know the only reason you're hanging out still is because you want to win a Trident, and I'm okay with that. So you did get a little peek on some good stuff, and we'll talk more. I
What
wanted to
what was
remind all you guys. Go ahead.
what was our top viewers? Did we get up? We broke 300, didn't we?
I don't know if we did or not. It's at like 280 right now, but good enough
I think
nonetheless, especially
I
after.
think I saw 90-ish. It was close. We can round up.
Okay, well, right now is when they're all telling their friends, bro, you want to get a free Trident? Bro, he's about to do it. Just come on in. Yeah. So
All
anyway,
right,
so we will
do.
on Tuesday. Sorry, on Monday at 2 o'clock. we are going to have our final Orange and Gray Days live stream, and we will have Ryan from BRS will be in, and we'll be able to, he and I will talk everything Apex, everything Neptune systems, lighting, whatever questions you want to have. There are tons of live streams going on right now. I know that you can probably get on repeat, even the ones out of saltwateraquarium.com, and they've got more coming, I'm sure, throughout the weekend. Bulk Reef Supply's got one on lighting that's coming up. There's just tons of content that's out there and lots of deals out there for Black Friday. Orange and Gray Days are going on until Monday while they last. And let's see if we can pick somebody for the Trident. And
You gonna call it?
this one we can give this one away, man. We can give this one away for sure. Are you gonna do it or am I?
Yeah.
Can you do the scroll and spin thing yourself?
I can scroll. Hold on. I go down to the bottom, right, and then I just like pull up and stop, and I do the top one, right?
Yeah, I just basically go
That's
up, I go
that,
down, and you know how it's got like the
that's the
accelerated
method.
spin?
All right, all right, all right,
You
all
just
right,
do
all
the
right. Hold on
accelerated
now.
spin.
There's so many comments I can't even scroll up right now. Stop commenting.
Stop commenting.
Seriously,
Please,
it won't let
please.
me scroll up, dude. This is hilarious.
All
All
right.
right, all right. Oh my gosh.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
there
be
it
your
goes. Okay,
backup.
I gotta work it.
I'm
I
gonna be
gotta
your
work it. I'm
backup,
sorry.
okay? No, I'm gonna
All
be
right,
your
here we go.
backup anyway.
All right, Matt Ellis. Matt
Matt
Ellis.
Ellis, okay? Matt
Yes.
Ellis. You have 60 seconds to basically ring in. Otherwise, I'm going to give it to Chris Fuel, okay? Chris Fuel, that's who just rolled up on mine. If Matt Ellis, it's Matt Ellis, right?
Matt Ellis.
Okay. Matt Ellis. Speak up,
He
Matt
asked.
Ellis.
He asked, "How do I service the probes in a Trident?"
Matt Ellis, you better speak up.
Because there are no probes in the Trident.
Crystal Fiel already said he went home. So we're looking for Matt Ellis. Your
Matt
buddies better
Ellis,
be
you got
calling
to
you,
try
Matt.
it here.
I'm thinking you've got about 26
This.
seconds left, man. And then it's gonna go to
All
Crystal
right.
Fuel. Because I picked the backup, Paul.
Oh, there he is. There he is. I saw him.
No, that's not him. That's somebody else calling his name.
No, no. It says I am here. There are so many comments I can't even try to find it, but I definitely saw
Okay.
that.
There it is. Yo. Okay, I got
Definitely.
it. Okay.
Yeah. I
So
am here!
Crystal
Exclamation point.
Fuel. Is it Crystal Fuel? I think that was who it was. You get the consolation prize, which is the hat. Okay? Which some may say is
All right.
not the consolation prize. Okay? So
There are some
there we
people out
go.
there that might give you a trident for that hat, from what I can tell by the fervent attitude. Now,
And
the process to redeem such things is
yes.
send us an email to info@neptunesystems.com
Oh,
and
info. I thought it
put
was
your
sales at
name, your address,
neptunesystems.com.
or
Not sales at
sales.
Neptune.
Do sales. Sales.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It all comes to me.
Okay. So there you go. And thank you guys for watching once again. On Monday, 2 o'clock, we're doing another one. Ryan from BRS will be joining me. Should be super fun. And if, who knows, go over there again to his live stream about lighting. Ask him, see if he's got any info on the sky. You know, I'm going to be in there just seeing what's going on. So until then, Paul, I'll see you next week sometime, buddy. And for all you
Yeah,
guys, enjoy those
sounds
fish,
good.
and we'll see you on a live stream on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Again, thank you for being customers. Thank you for being control freaks. And every one of us at Neptune Systems loves you for being there for us and for being there for every other person out there who has an Apex or some Neptune Systems gear. So until next time, take care. Terence and Paul.